Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Entrepreneurial Wednesday, and I have the distinct pleasure of being joined here by our special guest, Mr. Rob Clark from Performance Sports Academy. Mr. Clark, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. So, tell the people a little bit about Performance Sports Academy, what you guys do, what you guys offer. Just let people know about you.
Performance Sports Academy is a strength and conditioning facility where we do multiple things. The primary focus of is to provide a comprehensive strength and conditioning program that focuses on speed and power, and then general overall athleticism. Another thing that we do is we allow our athletes, because we have a bunch of different athletes. So what we do is we allow our athletes to get more training, where there's more mat time. We have a wrestling area. We have indoor throws for like shot put and discus. We have an outdoor high jump area and stuff like that. So what it does is allow our athletes to do their strength and conditioning and train year round, around in season, out of season, out of their sports, as well as work on the skill around their sports and stuff.
Now, are there any specific sports that you guys focus on the most there?
The biggest ones that we really focus on, probably I would say football, wrestling, track.
Okay.
Just because those kind of go in line. I do like to train volleyball players too, but typically volleyball athletes it's hard to keep around because they're always competing. They're always in season.
Yeah.
Actually, my volleyball and baseball players, it's hard to get them because, like I said, they're always in season.
Okay. Where you guys located at?
We're on the east side, off Montana. We're a little bit about a mile past the movie theaters.
Okay. Now, what's the address?
143. No, that's not it.
He about to give out his home address.
The address is 13310 Tobacco Road.
Okay. Now, you guys have a website or just all social media as far as?
It's all social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what type of things you guys put out on your social media?
Well, so I have different platforms. We have the Instagram is basically we highlight the athletes there mostly, and then what I do is I'll post some educational content as far as talking about sleep, eating, in season, out of season training, what strength and conditioning program should look like, what athletes, because there's a lot of information that parents and athletes think they know, but they really don't know. So one of the things is myself and people like me, what we try to do is we try to post content, that's going to be educational, that the parents and stuff see. Then I also have a TikTok. My TikTok is mostly for me to, put out information, but it's more directed to my target audience, which my football, wrestling, track kids, and then as well we highlight the athletes' accomplishments.
Okay. So you talked about the football and the wrestling, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want you to kind of go in just a little bit further. At the facility, you guys have a ton of equipment there. Mm-hmm. I think at one time y'all had a like a hurdler's pit or something like that.
Oh yeah. So we have we got hurdles, we have ice tubs, massage chair, massage guns. We do cupping. What else we got? There's so much stuff that we have. It's just all the things that's encompassed with the strength and conditioning program. One of the things I tell my athletes all the time is that we're going to beat your body up, but we're also going to recover it as well. Yeah. So that's what we do. We're in there. We're going hard. And then, like I said, whatever my athletes need, that's what I typically. So if I get an athlete that's got specific needs that we can address, then that's how we'll accommodate and we'll acquire more equipment and stuff.
You said ice tubs.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man. So, have you got in the ice tub?
No, I don't do the ice tub. I do a cold shower. I don't do the ice tub. I do a cold shower, but yeah.
Now, you're pretty modest about this, but I kind of want you to touch on this just a little bit. Like, how many PSA athletes have you guys had come through there that are now either playing at a high level or played at a high level?
We have a ton. I don't really keep because I'm not a stats guy, and that's one thing I tell people. If I had somebody that I could pay, and I would hire them to pay them to maintain the stats. But like right as of right now, we have athletes playing Division 1, Division 2 in multiple sports, and I mean D3, NIA, NAIA, and that's one of my things is the athletes that normally come to PSA. They that's part of my questionnaire, asking them when they come in, do you plan to compete in college? Because some people want to be good, but they only just want to be good for high school and they just want to be done, and it's a little bit different mindset for these athletes that want to be in college. So, for example, some of my track athletes this past track season, just a couple months ago, and so they get to see each other at the different track meets because regardless if you are the D1, D2, NAIA, and track, they get to all meet each other at the tournaments or the meets and stuff like that. Same thing with my wrestling athletes. They all get to see each other, and and because once you spend so many years, regardless of what school they come from, they spend so many years training together. Just building this bond because they have a common mindset.
Yeah.
It's get to school, help get school paid for, and whatnot. I mean, we've been blessed to have several top in the nation athletes. Like I said, in multiple sports. We got some right now. I think Josiah is going to be going to. I don't know if I know he qualified for the next step after conference.
Okay.
And as freshman year, like just from this past class last year, we have Jalissa Daniels that's at NMSU. Actually, I got a couple of girls. We got a high jumper. She just became number 10 overall in NMSU history in the high jump.
Okay.
And Eileen Alvarado, she trained for me. She was the El Dorado Aztec, and she trained with me for a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I bring it up because I want people to understand that you guys are producing top-notch athletes, especially on the track and wrestling side. As you guys go forward, what are some of the things that you're looking at on the horizon for PSA?
One of the things we want to grow, I'm looking at eventually moving into a larger facility, and because I want to be able to put an indoor track, I want to be able to specialize in, like, for my football guys, I want to be able to offer combine training and whatnot. We just need a little bit more bigger space than that, and then and then maybe bringing in one or two more people on board with the same vision. That's one of the hardest things. I'm gonna be honest with you, doing in this business, because a lot of people just want to specialize, and so for me, for a developmental standpoint, and that's what the mantra of PSA is all about, is development of athleticism. I have one of my kids that I train. He's a top tennis kid, and he's one of the top tennis kids in the state, and he's ranked and all that stuff. And but we still training for general athleticism. We still training for speed, power. You know what I'm saying? Because I always tell people, no matter what sport you end up choosing, you're going to need athleticism. Most of our top athletes that we look at on the highest level, they were athletes. We the people that we relish and that we look after, whether it's Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Kobe, LeBron James, what's my man? I forget his name. Anyway, the baseball player they got out now, like he was made in the lab. Dude,
Soto.
So
Juan
yeah,
Soto.
yeah, like dude was made in the lab. But you look at these guys, and somebody did. And I always tell people, what happens is these people got together with some coaches and some trainers while they were young, and they trusted the process of development. You can see it in their bodies. You can see it how they run. You can see it in development. And we live in a day and age where, early sports specialization that's what people do. And that's another thing. What I do, personally, what I do is I try to help my parents and my athletes navigate through that. I think that's one of the things that I really bring to the table, is helping parents navigate and teaching them, how to tell that coach that wants them to play baseball, 11 months out of the year, and going to him and tell him, hey, coach, we're going to take this season off. You know what I'm saying? So Johnny goes and works on his speed on the track, or, or he goes and does something else so we don't get those overuse injuries. Yeah, they may come back and they got to take a little bit of time to get into the swing of things, but that's okay because we're playing the long game.
Yeah, and I'm glad you kind of segued us into that, because one of the things that, just from the conversations I've had with you, is that you guys really focus on that multi-sport athlete, building a well-rounded athlete to help combat some of those things with injuries, fatigue. Kids deciding they don't want to play because they burn out. What are some of the things that you guys tell these parents in that process to kind of help them along their way?
One of the things is I try to use science. I'm a data guy, like I said. Well, I'm a data when it comes to science. We've trained by science. I always tell them we training by science. When you look at the data and you look at these case studies and stuff like that, they show you what early sports specialization does for you. One of my issues, I have a huge issue because I'm a football guy, is year-round football. I just feel like we're just playing way too much football, and we're so enamored with skill development that we forget about the longevity of the game. And then kids getting burnt out, you know what I'm saying, and outside of the concussions, you know what I'm saying, there's other injuries that come with that, and you never give the body a break. You have to give the body a break. You have all these soft tissue injuries, and this is basically what I'm saying is this is all the things that I talk to the parents about, and I'm talking to them. I'm telling them you have these soft tissue injuries and whatnot, and because I'm still a sport coach and I'm a strength conditioning coach, I see it on both sides. I see weight room accidents happen on the field, and then I see field stuff that cannot be recovered because you have these overuse injuries. And then you have these kids who are, especially at the young age, 9, 10, 11-year-old, the prepubescent athletes who are they're physically not prepared to handle what they're putting their bodies through.
So I kind of like to refer to it as you taking short-term success at the youth level, but impacting long-term success at the high school, college, and beyond.
Yep. You clipping the wings before they even get to spread them.
Yeah.
And it's just what it is. And so why you call it also, I got a term for that, is and I tell the parents, we don't want to burn the candle at both ends.
Yep.
Every athlete, on all of us, our athletic journey, it has a candle. You know what I'm saying?
We all got a shelf life.
Yeah. Everybody got a shelf life, and then what happens is when you start that candle too soon. Don't have to turn that off. But when you start that candle, burning too soon, same thing. I get more calls for 7 and 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds wanting to do strength and conditioning than I do for 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds. I get more calls because people they say, hey, call me, coach, Susie, she's got 2 left feet and she's 7, 8 years old. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You go. My advice to them is to go do multiple sports. That's one of the things you won't see. You won't see a bunch of young athletes running around PSA and whatnot because the risk to reward ratio that you have with those younger youth athletes is not that great. So I kind of stay away from those guys. If a parent is just adamant about spending their money, we'll advise them to go somewhere else. I just advise them or just let them go somewhere else. Somebody's going to take your money, but my thing is eventually you're going to have to come back and see us. My advice is from that young age is play multiple sports. And then, like I said, once they get to a certain age and we've been working on multiple different motor patterns and we have a base of athleticism, then we can add in that strength and conditioning.
Yeah. I mean, we've had this conversation several times. The vast majority of sports translate right into the other.
Yep.
Translate right into the other, whether it be football, basketball, volleyball, baseball. it all translates into the other. And I think that part gets lost. As a kid, one of the best athletes I've ever seen was a guy named Jason Odell, and Jason was good at everything: football, basketball, baseball, and it was because he just played them. He was out there having fun, and it was amazing to see some of the things that he could do and how it would translate. And a lot of it came from doing other sports. Almost every sport, you get into a defensive stance.
Mm-hmm.
That transcends every sport.
Yep.
And I think once kids and parents start understanding that and realizing it, because you'll do it in one sport and it don't even bother you,
Right.
but you do it in the other and it's bothering. It's like it's the same thing.
Same thing.
And getting them to understand it, I think, is huge. So, what else is on the horizon for PSA?
I mean, right now it's just kind of honing in on, what we got. I have pretty much a new class because the last class I had was of athletes I had was really big. A lot of those guys went off to college and whatnot. But that's my biggest thing. And now, so with PSA, we've grown because we've been doing it for so long. We have our athletes come home during the summer. Right now, I got a bunch of athletes that's home in the summer and whatnot, and they come back and train with me. Now, side note, one of the things that I like to hang my hat on is that when my athletes go out there, they're prepared. When they go see these other strength and conditioning coaches or these collegiate coaches and whatnot, they're all prepared. They've seen it before. I always tell at least 80% of what you're going to see, you've already seen it before. Now, some might be a little bit more, or might be even a higher percentage, but for the most part, 80%, they're going to be able to see 80% of what they're doing in their programs and whatnot. And they get in there, and they're not just learning how to do a clean. They're not just learning how to, how to do some of the plyo movements and stuff like that. They've been doing this for some years.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the athletes I get around middle school, not everybody sticks around because some people want to
venture off.
Yeah, some people want to venture off and I get it because people get enamored with the skill, and like I tell them, you have to have the athleticism behind the skill. One of the reasons why we love Patrick Mahomes is because of his athleticism. He's able to make athletic plays, and then and then also have a great arm. But that great arm comes from playing baseball, growing up playing baseball. And,
Yep.
His athleticism to be able to wiggle around and move. He was playing basketball.
Some of those arm slots that he throws from, that's a shortstop.
Right. Yep. That's just my thing is like when you do that, and then because I try to use athletes like him because he shows a lot of the strength and conditioning work that he does. Because once you get to that level, okay, you may not be doing the other sports, but that's already built in you.
Yeah.
And so now you get with a trainer, and what their focus is at that elite level is now to maintain.
Yeah.
One of the things I try to do at PSA is we try to talk to the parents, and I try to tell people like some of that stuff is good for Instagram, and that may be good for your athlete one day if they may be that 1% that ascends to the professional level. However, most people not going to go there.
Yeah.
Like we talk. I'm always telling my kids, if you stick around and you train hard and you trust the process, we can get you in college somewhere. Is everybody going to be Division I? No. But there's so many other places you can go. That's Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIAs. We can find you some place to go.
Yeah.
And but you have to build your body. You have to build your body. You got to understand the expectations. And you got to try not to follow the Instagram or follow the year-round early sports specialization crowd. Even in high school, I have some elite athletes that are top in the nation in wrestling and track, and I tell them, hey, you don't have to go to every national tournament, because what happens is because some people just want to rush to these national tournaments. I want to try to get my national ranking as
Oh,
high as
yeah,
possible,
yeah.
and then I'm broke. And then I break, freshman year of college, or I break, senior year in high school, and the rest of my career is shot. And they don't think about the longevity.
Man, you said that and you got me thinking, because I used to actually think that this was a good thing, but now that I look back on it, I was like, no, it wasn't. So I used to play baseball and basketball year round, and my freshman year of college, I tore my rotator cuff. Overuse.
Yep.
And hearing you say that, it made me think. I was like, he's right. You're absolutely right. I took the short-term success here in high school and feeling good about myself, and not even thinking about the long term for it.
That's if we see it now. So we have some parents, right, and I see it a lot now. So they hearing it. They hearing the multi-sport, but now that's exactly what's going on now. It's really widespread. So now when people say multi-sport, what they're trying to do is they're trying to do 2 sports in a season. They have their one year-round sport that they do, and then so let's say Johnny's a baseball player. He's gonna go do baseball year-round, but then he'll come to football and he'll do football, but then he's still playing baseball.
Yeah,
And
never sit it down.
Yeah, and you never take time away. And there's multiple things. There's multiple negative things for that. And like I said, that's one of the things that I talk about a lot with my athletes. And anytime I get a parent's ear, sometimes when I get that 7-year-old parent that calls me about training, they're gonna hear me. I'll give them a little brief message sometimes if I got the time, but I'll tell them, say, hey, this is my recommendation. You know what I'm saying, for you to develop your athletes. And like I said, that's been very good. I have some nationally ranked athletes that weren't nationally ranked, when they were 9 and 10 years old.
Yeah,
most of the people weren't.
Those rankings don't matter.
Right, it don't matter.
They don't matter.
Yep.
No college coach is gonna be like, what was your ranking in 9th grade?
Right.
Oh man, I got headache. They could care less.
Yep.
They really could care less. But no, man, we could sit here and go on with this for forever. But I do want to thank you for taking the time to come on here. Let the people know where they can find you at on social media and how to contact you.
Facebook, Instagram, Performance Sports Academy, Speed and Strength Development. You'll see us with the logo.
Yeah, we'll have to get your logo put up there. Okay. Well, hey, folks, it's been another Entrepreneurial Wednesday. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be blessed and have a good day. See you guys later.